Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas, and Simeon that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch, and Saul.
Welcome back to the Band to Exodus channel. Today, this is a special occasion for me. What I'm going to do today is try to actually give the real etymology and meaning behind the word nigger, which actually came from the word Niger, which actually came from the word Nigger. All right. What do I mean? Well, let's just get into the evidence. All right. Obviously, what I'm trying to say, the first thing I'm going to do here is not disprove this, but I'm going to prove actually what it actually means. But it does not mean king, and it does not mean dark-skinned person. Okay, that was not its original meaning. All right, so let's just dive into the evidence here. All right. All right here. All right. The Niger is the third longest river in Africa, exceeded only by the Nile, the Congo River, and it's a tributary. So, it's the third longest river in Africa. All right. But what I want you to see here, this is where we dig up stuff. The earliest use of the name Nigger, for the river by Leo Africanus. So the first thing we want to do here is when it was first used, it was used to name the river system, okay, that was in the west coast of Africa. All right. So the earliest use for the name Niger or Nigger was actually to name the river system in its area, not a people. So right then and there, you can clearly see that the name in its earliest form had nothing to do with being a king or being black. All right. I do know our African American history, but that's African American history and not world history and all history. This is the reason why people have a problem with being educated, because everything we learn is from the African American perspective instead of from a whole world history and geography perspective. All right, let's get into the second thing here. The name may come from, listen to this now, may come from the Berber phrase Ger Nigger or Ger Nigger, meaning river of rivers. Ger, river, in of Ger, rivers. As you can see, when you take the front off in it, add the vowel sound in between the two consonants, which happens in the Bantu languages, you get the word Niger. Then the word Niger turns into Nigger. How does that happen? All right, let's get into it. All right, what we're going to do is get into the next piece of evidence here. All right, guys. Now, what I want you to do is look. Trans-Saharan Trade Network. All right. In this system, right here is where you see Gold Coast, Ivory Coast, and Slave Coast. We have to realize that the urban slave trade was going on long before the Atlantic slave trade. And in order to get these slaves to European lands and to Arabic lands or the Middle East, they had to have trade routes. All right. So Trans-Sahara Trade Network was really about selling slaves to European nations. But also at the same time, what I'm showing you down here is where the point of origin where they was getting their slaves was from. Look, the Niger River system. All right. So now, as you can see, so we're going to go back. Just want to go back right here. The the earliest use of the name Niger Nigger was for the river as used by Leo Africanus in his little book. All right. I call it his little book in 1550. The name may come from, see, because Europeans didn't have much knowledge, so they must have retrieved this name from the Berber phrase Gur Niger, meaning river of rivers, as Timbuktu was the southern end as Timbuktu. So you notice Timbuktu played a lot of history in this, as Timbuktu was the southern end of the principal trans-Sahara trade route to the Western Mediterranean. It was the source of most European knowledge of the region. That is key. It was the source of most European knowledge. So instead of saying, hey, we know who those people are, no, we know where we get those people from. All right, so let me get out of here again so you can see my face. So what we need to do here is realize that the word Niger Nigger is the actual place name of a river system that was headed and actually took from the Berber phrase Gur Niger. When you break the word down and put the vowel sound between the N and the G, you get Niger. And then when you get the slaves to America with your good old Bible Belt, country speaking dialects from different parts of the world, you get the word nigger. So now we have to realize that the people know that we were slaves from the Niger river system. Thus, instead of giving us our real biblical names or our actual pronunciation of our name as a nation from back home from the Bantu um, lands, they used the European knowledge that they had from the Berber phrase Gur Niger, the Niger or Nigger River system region, where they painted Negro land. All right. Now, also, of course, during I would say, the carrying of this name, of course, the connotation to Europeans was towards black people. Hey, when you say Niger or Niger or Nigger, definitely talking about black people from that part of the West Coast Africa or Angola area. So basically, I don't know why the Angola's not mentioned that much, but for some reason, Americans have this asphyxiation towards the West Coast when a lot of us came from Angola, and even white people stuck with it when they started naming us as a derogatory term, nigger, from the word Niger, from the Berber phrase gur niger or gur nigger. Okay, however we doing that, however you want to pronounce it, you can obviously see from common sense why where the word nigger came from. So I just want to look at it again before we go any further. Just look at it one more time. Excuse me. The name may come from the Berber phrase ger nigger. Take the first river part off because it's river of rivers. So just river, you take that off, you got Nigger, right? Of a river, right? And then you put the I in there, and you see where Europeans, with their limited knowledge of the languages and the knowledge of the land, where they got the word nigger from. All right. So let's get out of here. Stop screen share. All right. So now what we're going to do is go into the next bit of evidence here, just to tie this class off, to make sure that we actually take this power behind this derogatory name that never meant black and never meant king. All right. All right, here, this is what I want to look at next. Should I share it this time? All right. All right, here. Now, what I want to do, trans-Sahara slave trade, but they call them routes. But you see here that the slave trade routes go up here, but from their point of origin is from the Nigger river system. This is where the Bantus were being sold from in this area, along with the Congo Angola area, where most of it was actually taken from. But the word nigger doesn't stick everywhere. It's a word over here in the States, okay? And if you look at the North America, the ones that came to North Carolina, Florida, New Orleans, right? If you trace that line back, where do we coming from? See, we're coming from the Niger system area. Now watch this. This is where you get clarity. The majority of us came from Angola, but ended up in Brazil. Do you understand? In South America, the majority of the slaves that were taken from the Bantu lands ended up in South America in the Brazil area. So you realize in America, the ones that they were getting was from more so from the West Coast, and that's where we get our fixation on this West Coast and going back to Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Cameroon, because this is where we was getting taken from, and the connotation, the name Nigger turned into Niger to Nigger once it hit over here to the English. Not the old English, but the new English, all right? So the new English people in the new world of North America is the one that brought the pronunciation of nigger from a miseducated and mispronunciation of the word Niger that came from the word Nigger or Nigger, the Berber phrase for the river system that Afro Leocanis or whatever his name is. I don't ain't pay attention to his name much anymore, for real, because he's been played too much in history for little or nothing. All right. So let me get out of here. All right. All right. I'm going to go to the next one here. All right. Okay. Hold on. Let me try this again here. All right. It won't let me share that one, so I'll just have to go to this one here. All righty. Okay, obviously it won't let me show you that one, so I'm gonna have to freestyle that one to you. All right. Here we go. A member of a black skinned race of Africa. Notice that a Negro is a member of a race of Africa, a whole set apart race within Africa. I want you guys to notice that. Origin and meaning of Negro by online etymology. 1550s. Listen to that date. Round about the Spanish Inquisition. All right. So what we need to know is that the Portuguese, the Portuguese and Spanish word for black people is Negro. But the where they got it from is because the people who they put out of their land and put into the Atlantic and Arabic slave trade were from the Nigger or Niger, Niger, Negro land area. So, because of their miseducation and lack of education of Africa, they went with the name of the river system that they were taking the commodity of slaves from, which end up being nigger, negro, and all these other names. All right. So I just want y'all to see that the word nigger never meant king and it never meant black. It was a Berber phrase, gur nagur, take off the first gr and just leave the river part. And then it's because they didn't understand what they were speaking. They put the vowel sound in between the n and the gur, and that's where you get Nigger or Niger river system. And thus we were the commodity coming from that river system, and thus they called us nigger from Nigger or gur Nigger. All right, let's get out of here. All right, next. Next. Okay. All right. The browser can't exercise my screen. Okay. Let's see why not. Okay. Oh my god, dude, what is going on here? Yeah, I'm having some technical difficulties here, for some reason. So, wow, we're okay. So, obviously, Simeon and Barnabas, for some reason, things stopped working here. Simeon and Barnabas was called Niger. They were not called Niger because they was kings or prophets or because they were black or dark skinned or any other thing. The reason why Barnabas and Simeon were called Niger or Niger is because that's exactly where they were from. So you have to realize that the people of Africa knew the story of the Bantu people and where it started from. So once again on this video, I am bombshelling again that the Niger river system area is the ancient area of the place that the Israelites or the Bantu people called Egypt. But the original name of that place, I will not disclose on this video, was not called Egypt, but they called it a place of bondage. But the original kingdom that the world calls Egypt, I will hold for now, but you need to know that that area from the Bantu expansion map is the land of ancient Egypt that Moses took the people out of. But the name of that kingdom was not named Egypt, and it was not named Mizraim. The land that that place was on was of Mizraim's allotted land. So yes, the west coast of Africa, the land of Ashur, also includes the land of Mizraim when he relocated after the flood. All right. So what I'm trying to do here is to make sure that if we're gonna be awoken and we're gonna go back home, we can't be going back home having this nigger thing going on. Yo, nigger this, nigger that, nigger that. Yeah, it was something that was thrown on us. We turned it around. We did what we wanted to do with it in order to take the damage or whatever, you know, stigma and derogatory meaning that it had to it, often of it, and make it our own. And I understand that. But as we're getting educated here and going into this awakening and getting ready for this exodus to go back into the land of Yosolole, we need to know as a people that the word Niger and nigger never meant dark-skinned people. That came behind a miseducation. Once again, it came behind a lack of knowledge and miseducation and mispronunciation of European Romantic speaking people as compared to Bantu speaking or African languages speaking people. This is why they had problems. We all do this all over the world to make things easier for us. So instead of them studying us, trying to actually give them the biblical narrative of who our people was and actually calling us by our rightful names and giving us respect. You do not do that with slaves. This is a commodity. This is where we buy them from. The Nigger area, after it gets overseas, it changes pronunciation and it becomes nigger. With that, I'm gonna let y'all guys go on the Bantu Exodus channel, man. I want to see y'all back. Hopefully I did my job today. Hallelujah. Amen and Geta.